Welcome, Johnson Vars here. In this video I'm going to talk about the RPG Engine, a 3D virtual tabletop that you can find on Steam. I have played about 130 hours, as you can see. It's basically a virtual tabletop that you can create your maps and create your characters and play also with friends in real time. It's in early access stage. You can play for free the demo, which is including right now all of the features. Actually, it's like the game just quite free until the early access finishes. Then it costs 20 euros that you can get the product, and I think in the future it's going to include a certain limit amount of people you can invite to a game, or you have to buy the full version of the game to invite any number of players. Or I think there's a subscription model coming soon, but I'm not going to go into pricing. You can take a look for yourself later on. Let's talk about the product now. As you launch it, you get this menu. As you can see, the graphic style of it, it's low poly. I think it's great for role-playing games because it's not extremely realistic that it feels like a AAA video game, but at the same time it has enough detail that you can refine your things. So I think it's good. Here you have Game Master. This is to set up games. Player, I guess, to join your friends' games. And character is a full-blown character builder for your, basically NPCs and PCs, all alike. It's very easy to use. You click here on different parts of the body and then you customize that part. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna choose a girl here and choose this kind of armor, and then maybe I wear these pants and then some boots and some arms. And I think this is really cool about you can even use asymmetrical parts. Of course, I'm going to symmetric, maybe some shoulder on the right side, and you can also customize the face, and the hair. So as you can see, it's pretty cool, pretty fast to make characters following this design style. Let's call her Lara. And you can also choose the color. This part, I think it's incredibly amazing because you get to customize the character however you like them to be. Also the customizing the armor and so on. And you get to create them. Then you can upload them to the workshop as well. So it has a Steam workshop I'm gonna show in a moment. That means you can share your creations with other players, or you can save it locally, which is what I'm going to do now, and get out. So let's see what the game can do, because that's a character creation. I guess it's like a repository for characters, maybe. Yes, it's like from here you will see the other characters that you have created in the past. It is multi-settings as well, so it's not only fantasy. It has content for different kinds of settings, like post-apocalypse. It's really complete. So let's get into what you can do. I'm gonna create from scratch a campaign. And when you start, you are taken to this map. I guess it's an example map where you can see the biggest, or let's say the most basic essential features of how you play. You control with the keyboard, the camera, the mouse, you rotate. You can click on characters. There's a panel here on the bottom left where you can do and have a list of animations like kick or being angry and arguing, or being excited. So in this matter, it's, as you can see, it's a full-blown 3D VTT. There's a button here called move, so it's going to auto-calculate the path you can move through. And there's a slider here for the speed. So as you can see, this is quite interesting because you get to be as much alive with your game as you would ever imagine. So let's bring this dwarf here. We can make him combat ready. Let's see how it gets. And he's now combat ready, which is like this posture. And then you can make battle cry, roar. Nice. What else? Something you can see is that this dwarf here has a weapon. So basically the game has two modes. One is the play mode, where you get a social menu with things like ping. You kind of need to get familiar to the UI, where you can do certain pinging effects. Then there is the chat, which is the typical chat. Yeah, there's a visual glitch there, but it went away. And then you can roll dice. D10, D12, press send, and you're gonna get 3D dice. How cool is that? Then you have an initiative order list, where you can say yes, to know in which order people are fighting. To do that, to add people to the initiative, you right click and go to settings, and then there's a button here, add turn. It's a bit hidden if you ask me. I hope this will get better soon. And you get here 1, 2 is the order in which the characters go, so you can have a very, very basic initiative manager here for the combats. So this is, as you see, system agnostic, so it doesn't assume you're playing D&D, it can be anything really. These are the game menus. Then there is document manager. Here is where you can design sheets. So you get into build mode and you can add things like texts, where you can say, okay, strength, dexterity, and intelligence. I don't know, just to give a few examples. And you can start creating fields where your characters or your players can begin filling this out as they create characters. So you can design essentially your own character sheets with this. You get used here. These are like the input fields, and then when you're in play mode, you can fill this with values. So, and this also, there's a workshop icon here, so you can see other people's character sheets creation. So this is a new feature, so I guess the community is building up, but over time things can be interesting and maybe filled up with systems, or you can contribute yourself, which is part of the idea that anyone can do this. And then you can name it, and also you can press here on the red disk to upload the template, put an image of it, etc. So these are the playing features. Then there is here a map controller, I guess, to switch from one map to another, and a music controller, which is what's playing on the background right now. So this is basically what would you see if you are playing on an already existing map. What if you want to create your own map? Let's do that now. We go to the map menu, we create a new map, and you get to see the browser, which with a bunch of pre-made maps, like a security point for Cyberpunk, a forest, a town. I guess over time there can be more. Or you can click on the workshop to see user creations, which is also part of the magic here, that you can create a map and upload it. Let's download, I don't know, this guy's map and work from there. It's going to begin downloading. And after a moment, I hope, depending on the size and your internet speed, is going to take you to that map. So as you can see, I just downloaded in 2 clicks a full-blown map by another user in the community. Looks like he put already some NPCs here. And as you can see, the terrain is low polygon, but it can be quite detailed with lighting and torches, and here you have the cleric of the town, and so on and so forth. That's pretty cool. Let's begin with the scratch map. Blank, you give it a name. I don't know, let's do some sci-fi battle. Here you decide the size of the terrain and the starting color, something darker, and you can click here even if you don't see this. If you click on the medium, it's gonna choose the size. So here you start with a blank map. What can we do? So we click here to switch to build mode and we get the building assets menu. This has a ton of stuff, a ton. I don't know how many thousands of content you have. There are certain filters here, although in my opinion this can be a lot better because like props, environment, entities, custom effects is very, very broad, and then you have here these folders inside, so you kind of need to use it or get used to it. You get to props and there are like exteriors, weapons, interiors, structures. So there are so many assets that I think organization of assets is critical here to be able to get to know what is in the game to offer, right? So when you start from scratch, this might be a little bit intimidating. Having said that, you can search for keywords like floor and you would get ground, tiles, something like this. If you press Alt X, you can switch the tiling setting, and then if you press Alt, you can place multiple copies of a tile and easily or quickly create a floor grounds. You can also use, as you can see, multiple kind of tiles. As you see fit, you can do whatever you want with it. The editing is pretty simple. You click on the tiles, you have to move these floating windows around because you will probably get on your way. If you click on the headers here icon, they will hide for a moment if you like. And you can see these are the arrows. So the keys of what you need to learn is, number one is this positioning arrows. It's very straightforward. You can move on a plane, up and down, etc. If you press 2, the number 2, number 3, you're going to switch to the resizer mode, which you can make it bigger on the sides. Control Z will fall back, by the way, or you can make it larger. I'm gonna go back, but this is to show you an example. With this you can do with anything. So if we open up again the building menu and we place, I don't know, a chair, something like, or a throne maybe. So you can see the searching is critical for getting what you need. If you press Control and rotate with the mouse wheel, you're gonna be able to set the rotation factor. So you can rotate, enlarge them, move them, and if you press number 4, you're gonna have the rotation of assets, which for rotation I recommend using the control wheel because this is like relative positioning. You might not want to do this, but you can do things like that and have a fallen chair, or even, let's say, to the sides, sideways. So you can do a lot of things from here, add some trees. I'm not a map maker myself. There's a bunch of people who are amazing at this, but you can get something done pretty straightforwardly and quick if you get used to this asset browser, let's say. If you go to entities, you can see characters and NPCs that are pre-made, or you can click this icon here to create a new character, as I showed in the beginning of the video. It feels a bit dark, if you ask me. Yeah. So, or you can place pre-existing NPCs. For the sculpting here, the second button, you get to do elevation on the terrain, as you can see. You can also pull strength of the tool and very easily sculpt your terrain, and you can also paint it, you know, if you want some grass feeling, to paint the terrain as you like. And of course you can enrich it with grass as like objects and place a bunch of these things here, or search for rocks. And so on and so forth. So This is the creation tools. It's pretty cool if you ask me. There's also fog of war if you want to hide certain parts of the map to your players. The cutout tool, I think it's made to cut things traversally. Then the atmospheric system, this is also pretty cool because you configure the lighting here, the time of the day, the direction, and kind of the mood of the light coloring. And also you can choose a bit of ambient lighting if you want to add a different mood, change the weather. There can be rain or snow combined. You can show or hide the clouds, show a certain fog, and as you can see now we suddenly got into a more apocalyptic situation. You can choose the sky boxes. You can get into twilight or night. So it is really cool in that term that you can really choose how you want things to be. It's also because of the fog that we cannot see the skies, by the way. So let me choose and do that. If I had the fog, I can see the skies again. Because the fog was so strong that it was hiding everything. And you can have a lot of fun with this by preparing the games for your players. Or as you know me, I play also by myself sometimes with solo rules. It's also a lot of fun for that. Here you can do things artistically, effects like post effect, like sketchy styles or sharpening styles. And you can move these characters by pressing M. You can also, I think there are shortcuts like P to do pings, and you can chat here. One thing about the play mode is the radial menu. If you right click, you're gonna get a bar to be able to set up some health bars, some icon effects, if you need to keep track of status, or even chat bubbles. So this can be a lot of fun. For the rulers, you have linear rulers. You have also navigation rulers, which is like which path or how long would it take your characters to move there. Or sphere, which is like radial or radius. You can also call these rulers from anywhere to set up effects. So as you can see, it's a very, very huge, complete VTT, if you ask me. Maybe what's a bit missing is a certain, let's say, quality of life or automation things, like the way to easily create rooms or walls, or maybe a bit of automation in terms of character sheets, like how you connect, but at the same time it gives you the full freedom to do how you prefer. Formulas are supported, so you can do roles from here by having clickable formulas, like this button here. So you can make something around here clickable by working on it. I think, yeah, you have to figure that out because I kind of forgot, but if you know how to use the document manager, you'll be able to learn how to make cool character sheets that are more or less automated. Before I drop, there's another more feature, which is like playing in 2D is also an option. So there is also available a PDF viewer if you have a PDF books or even an internet browser integrated. If you need that, because then from this platform you can really do everything you need if you have like internet resources. But what I wanted to highlight is if you go to the custom elements, you can set up planes on the ground, a custom flat map. And here, if you right click on it, you're going to be able to, oh no, sorry, not right click, left click, you're going to see the prop settings. You have to be in build mode. oh, closing the asset building. As you can see, it's closing the prop settings. So let me hide this. It hides everything as well. Never mind. Here you can import the image of a 2D map. So this is, or any image really, like if you want to have an image like this, you can. But something very interesting about this is that you can pull an image from the internet. Let's go, for example, if I search for battle maps, images, and I pull, I don't know, one of these, copy the URL, image link, go here and paste this URL. Oops, that didn't work. Hold on. Let me save. Yeah, I think it depends. Some websites are protected. Maybe I took one that's not possible to do. But it has to be a certain format. So this image is protected. As you can see, it has to be a JPG format. Maybe this link will work. That's because I'm a bit of a hacker. Yeah, it has to be a URL to an image, and then it's going to work like this. So normally it will work what I did, no worries. I just picked a protected link. So you can see here you can play around 2D maps. I think these windows are a bit annoying sometimes. But you can have pretty much a 2D game if you so need. And this is not small, because for many things you might not have ready map there, and you can even might not have like the 3 models ready, so you can even choose to play with this kind of token representations. This is very, very complete. You have to figure out how it works. You can set images to it, like these are my 2 characters, for example, and then in play mode you can just move them. This is I think these are always facing the camera, so they will rotate with you. But if that bothers you, you can disable this face camera and then rotate it with the control and the mouse wheel, as I did before. And if you press Alt, you can show that image, same of the map. So you can have like the 2D print representation of your 2D content. So you can definitely play and roll dice with 2D assets. There's more to this, like you can also import your Hero Forge tokens, or you can combine as well 3D elements with it. Like for example, you want these boxes here to have like a projecting 3D perspective, let's say. So you look for box here and you say, okay, maybe wooden boxes. And you say, hey, I'm gonna set these boxes here to give this a bit of 3D perspective. So you need to get used to familiar with these tools, let's say. But then you can say, okay, certain parts of your 3D maps have this 3D perspective into it. This is also pretty useful, but I'm not going to do a full tutorial of the tools. Or even perhaps, why not, maybe there's something built that can represent this little docks building here. So you can also look for similar houses or building types there. There's tons of assets. Oops, I picked the wrong. And as you can see, then I move it to the corresponding size. And then suddenly I have like a mix between 2D and 3D blend. The options are infinite here. I cannot stress that enough. You just need to get used to the tools. Let's say it takes a bit. But my personal opinion is that this platform has a lot. I personally support it. I think it's growing very fast. You can play and have a lot of fun with it. I haven't even showed like how you attach weapons. Like let's say if you want a sword, you want to give this NPC a sword, you just place the sword on their hand and that's it. So that's all you really have to do. It has certain, let's say, things that you get too used to, but what can I say? It's really one of my favorite 3D VTTs out there. I think it's growing very, very fast. The developer is very active. That's very important. You have tons of content. Like if you search for post-apocalypse, I think, or apocalypse, you can find tons of assets if you look in the right place. So for example, if you look for environment or props, structures, maybe here you can let's search for sci-fi, and you can really get to build like entire environments with certain patience and work, which is what I think, where I think there are certain areas to improve, that this process is to be made easier, I hope, for in the future. But it's also not incredibly difficult once you get used to the tools. You can also make isometric maps and just play with this, which is what I personally do. Like I don't enjoy building full-blown maps, so I rather put like a certain well-scoped scenario where I put my players in, and it's like, okay, the piece is okay, you are in a hallway, there are two characters from the police, one guy from the press, they are approaching you, what do you do? And I let the imagination play. If they ask me, hey, what if there's are there any screens around? I say yes, maybe there's a screen here on this wall, I don't know, and I put a monitor here and here. You can really improvise this way. It's like, oh yes, there's in these walls there's a bunch of screens. You have to get used maybe to these tools that you say, okay, I have to place them where I want them to be, or even resize them, etc. But it doesn't take a crazy amount of work. Or if they ask me, is there any sort of cover? Then I search for cover and sci-fi or box and sci-fi, and I say yes, there's some boxes here and here, and quickly come up with, like, let's say, maps. I can even also make this wider by adding more floors. This is just to give you an example. This is like, you can perfectly just play like this and have a lot of fun. So I hope you liked this video, you found useful stuff in it. I hope I didn't go too fast, but there's so much to cover around here that I cannot even begin to start with organizing this. But yes, give it a go. I think it's pretty interesting, pretty flexible and powerful, and it's continually improving. So if you like this video, support me, follow, and we stay in touch. Thank you.